Big news, of course. Lachlan Galvin is just days away from making his Bulldogs debut. Here's Coach Cameron Ciraldo.
We've only had 2 sessions with him, but he's fitted in really well. The boys have accepted him into the group, and he's getting to know everyone, all the names, all the players, and he was really comfortable with understanding he had to come here and earn the right to be in our team, and I'm really confident our culture is strong enough to have people come into our group and accept them with open arms. And we had a couple of spots in our top 30 open, which we left open for reasons like this, in case a quality player pops up. And when Lockie said that he wanted to come join our club, definitely spoke to a couple of senior players, and they were really excited about him coming. Toby will be the halfback on Monday against the Eels, and he's had a great opportunity all year to get all the reps of training, and we've been really open about some things we want him to do better, and he's working really hard on that, and now our coaches are working really hard with him on that, as they are with every other player in the squad.
Yes, all eyes will be on Lachlan Galvin. They have been for the past few months, including ourselves. He's got to the Bulldogs. He's been named in the extended bench, so we're still unsure whether he's 100% going to play. We're hearing he most likely will. Now, Toby Sexton is going to start at 7, which we heard when they signed Galvin, he was about to be dropped. So that's an interesting call. Where does that leave Galvin?
I think it leaves Galvin at the moment, well, in my opinion, I think he should play New South Wales Cup. I really do. Cameron Ciraldo just said it. He has to earn the right to get into our side. So if that's the case, then he should go and play a game or 2 in the lower grades. You know what else it would do? It would appease any simmering angst in the playing group right now that this kid's going to come straight in, and it would also allow Galvin just to find his feet and allow the players that are there to think, you know what, this kid's not going to get preferential treatment. He's not going to push his way into the side. He will earn his way into the side.
What's he going to get out of playing New South Wales Cup?
Well, Braith, it just takes the sting out of the story for starters. This is the long...
The story's well and truly.
This is the long game.
It doesn't take
the head out of the story. A few weeks back when he played New South Wales Cup for the Tigers, you went out and watched the game. Like, it's still going to create a circus.
This is the long game,
You may as well
Pauls.
cut the... They didn't buy him to play second grade.
I know that, but I'm saying...
They bought him to play NRL.
If it means keeping some harmony inside that camp, then I've got no problem with him going back and just finding his feet.
You just
heard...
I'll
ask you a question.
No, listen.
Ciraldo just said he's got to earn the right.
He did.
Has he earned the
I'll
right
tell you
by not
what
playing
I
a
reckon
game?
Ciraldo has done here. Like, there was a lot of concern that this may disrupt the harmony of the Bulldogs team. They're sitting up top of the ladder. Everyone's done their job. You know, if you go and drop Reid or if you go and drop Sexton, it could create disharmony. I think Cameron Ciraldo is proving to be that good of coach. He wouldn't have brought someone in from the outside if he hadn't first had the likes of Stephen Crichton and Kickow and Matt Burton and his senior players on board about this decision. Because while it may be a problem with the West Tigers, they're loyal to their team. They're loyal to their success. He would have had to have had the conversation and said, boys, this is a team-first culture. This is what we're going to do. What do you reckon, Braith?
Yeah, I believe if it's going to disrupt them, we'll find out, regardless of whether he plays New South Wales Cup this week or not. It's going to be an issue if that is the case. It may not be. I think just get him in there, you know. I don't think dropping Sexton straight away is going to help, but get him in there, get him in and amongst the playing group, which they already have. Let him come off the bench, play in a few different positions or whatever that may need to be, whilst monitoring the way Sexton's going and the way he's controlling the team. And then they have the option of dropping Sexton or not, you know, which they've got that now anyway. I think that the quicker you throw him into the furnace, the better. See how he reacts. I just don't see what the point would be buying, you know, a big signing like him. If they've talked up, can possibly get them to a title now. Why waste a week or 2 in New South Wales Cup? Get him in the first grade.
I agree. I think you all make really good points, but I'd throw him in there. You bought him to play first grade. That's where you want him to do. If he puts someone's nose out of joint, well, they bought him because they don't think that they could win the comp with the roster that they have.
But Sexton was rumoured to have been...
Sexton's been unbelievable.
On
He's
the
played
chopping
great.
block. Now Ciraldo has decided to keep him there, which is what I think is good leadership. However, it does show, though...
Could that be smoke and mirrors?
It could be. It does show, however, though, that Galvin isn't going to walk straight into the side. So it's an indication to me that he has to do some sort of apprenticeship, for want of a better term, Crawls, before he just marches into that side. This is a side that's winning the premiership.
Yeah, but you're talking New South Wales Cup. I
don't see the problem.
Said, mate.
He's a kid. He's got 15 years of NRL. If there's one game in New South Wales Cup which eases him into the squad and shows to those blokes that he doesn't get preferential treatment, then I've got no problem with it.
You promise you won't turn up and watch him?
I may pop out and have a look.
You were a security guard, weren't you?
More cop.
It is interesting, though. I think Sexton's he's got the heat on him. If he didn't have the heat on him already, he's going into this game with Galvin sitting on the bench. He knows he needs to perform at his best and get a win for his team, or else he's probably gone, right? So, but Galvin's PR campaign the last few days, what have we made of that?
Oh, it's been pretty good. I think he's actually come across quite well, Galvin, albeit we know the questions were vetted and they were staged. But I think the way he presented himself, I personally was quite impressed. You don't look that impressed.
Well, no. It's not that I wasn't impressed with what he did. He's a 19-year-old kid. It was totally scripted. We weren't told the truth about the things that have caused the division at the Tigers. I thought it would have been a better idea to save that, just get him back on the field and let his actions speak for themselves.
Yeah, I think he's spoken really well. There's no doubt. I don't think it's done him any harm. I'm with you, Crawls. I didn't see the need in him talking, especially when he couldn't really say a lot.
You've got to get it out of the way, Braith. The
What's out of the way? But what's out of the way?
Interview.
What's out of the way, though?
You've got to get the interview out of the way.
But what's out of the way?
You wouldn't
what have
buy
we
it if
learned?
it was
that we
You know what it's got out of the way? The media sniffing round. The media.
it's gone.
Essentially now, no one's chasing
We're talking
him.
about him now.
But no one is chasing him for a one-on-one interview. He's done the interview
Is that
now.
because the interview was boring?
Well, you can call it what you like, Gordy. He's done his interviews now, and now it's free space in terms of the media chasing him around. So I think it was a good idea to get it done.
I think with what's happened, if I was advising him, just let your footy do the talking. Go out there, earn the stripes, and they never said, "Oh, look, earn the stripes." Why don't you just go out there and keep everybody quiet and play some good footy?
Well, if you guys want him in the side, that's fair. But where do you play him? You've got Bailey Hayward on the bench. Are you going to run two halves on the bench, albeit Haley is a utility?
Well, he can play 9 or
Bailey is a
13, Bailey, and you know, that's where it's interesting, and that's where it's a big decision for the coach, for Serrato. Because as soon as I heard that, I thought him and Hayward, it's not typically what you'd go for as a coach in a team, but you know, this is different circumstances.
But what suits him at the moment, Braith, in his career? Second ball or off the ruck? One off or second man?
Oh, I don't think it matters what suits him right now. I think it's what the Bulldogs want and need that is required. And I think that they think he's that talented and he's got that much footy IQ that no matter where they want him to play, he'll do a job and do a good one at that. So I don't think it's about him. And I think he's made that known. You know, he's kind of said all the right things and been quite selfless in the way that he's approached this transition over to the Dogs. So I think he's pretty open-minded as to where he plays.
I actually think it's very fascinating to wait and see what happens, because I think most people would agree with what you're getting at there, Gordon, that he's best suited for 5'8". That's what we know. We haven't seen him play first receiver halfback.
But you just get a bit more
what
time
that does,
as a young kid.
and the Bulldogs seem to need that Sexton-style, you know, chief organiser, because Matt Burton has showed in the past that he's not that player.
Yeah.
But if he does end up at 5'8", then where does Burton end up? Does Burton end up in the centres? Then is Stephen Crichton the one that shifts back to fullback? What about Connor Tracy? Someone ultimately
To me, that looks like a better
lose
balance.
out.
That looks like a better balance. Having Galvin at 6 with a bit more time and space, and Sexton's doing a pretty good job at 7.
I don't think there's anyone who sees him as a genuine 7 that I've heard or spoken to that's
So
reached
how
the
is
heights of
Sexton
that.
the one under the gun? Is it Hayward that comes in as the 7?
I thought that Hayward might have played 7 this week, and they would have had Galvin on the
And
bench
Galvin
and
will
made
stay
that
on the
call with
bench.
Sexton. Just made the call, because
Carry
that's what
on
I
the
was
wing.
hearing before. When they signed Galvin, I heard that Sexton was about to get dropped anyway. That was coming out of Canterbury.
But why? Look, I know the number on Sexton's back is 7. But why is Sexton the one that's got to be punted straight away? He's led this side as the playmaker
I agree.
to the top of the table.
He's been hard done by.
And then suddenly this kid strolls in off the street,
If he's got a good
wonderful
manager,
potential, and then
His
Sexton's the one that's
stocks are
going to
pretty
go.
high at the moment. I think he's
Ta-da.
proven. I think he's
Sexton.
proven that. Yeah.
But the problem is, Gordy, this is why they are where they are, and poor Toby is because he hasn't had a heap of clubs after him, or else he would have signed somewhere else, or the Bulldogs may have rushed or upgraded and extended. He hasn't had the interest, which is surprising to me and a lot of us that he hasn't. But
Even if that happens, though, even if Hayward ends up taking Sexton's spot as the 7 in the team, it still doesn't answer where Galvin ends up, because Galvin's got to come off the bench. When he comes off the bench, he plays 5'8", doesn't he?
yeah.
So ultimately, when he fits into that team and he's won the trust of all the players and he's playing good enough, someone is then going to get
He's
moved.
there to play 7.
Is Burton
He's
a better
there,
rower, right?
He's
Is
there
he?
to play 7. They have bought him to play 7.
Is
Like
Burt-
for the right now, they bought him to play 7. He's not coming on to play 6.
But you said a moment ago you don't think he is a 7.
No, but it does. But I'm not. That doesn't mean I don't think he can do as good, if not a better job than Sexton at 7.
Okay.
I was just saying that if you ask all the great judges and all the experts in our game and ex-players, they don't see him as a genuine 7. Doesn't mean he can't go and do a great job there at all. Like, he's a talented kid. I'm not sure if he's a generational talent yet. Like, I haven't probably seen enough, but he's got the potential to be.
He played a halfback role at the Tigers, didn't he? Yeah. Essentially. But he is a running 6, isn't he? I don't think he's a halfback personally. But if someone's got to go crawls and something has to give, does Burton become an edge-back role?
Oh, no. I'd see Burton more as... I'd even try him at fullback before the edge-back role.
Could he play a...
Because then you don't disrupt anything. 'Cause that was my first thoughts. If you put... you've got Sherry... Yeah, I know that, right? But you've got Sherry and Crichton doing a great job in the centres. You had Sexton or Hayward with Galvin in the halves and Burton back to fullback. Burton can play as an extra half. Most fullbacks do a lot of these days. It brings him into the game as a support player. He's not an organiser here. You don't lose his kicking game.
His strength's running, isn't it? His
strength's running. You don't lose his kicking game at fullback either. You see Latrell and those guys, they do a lot of the kicking. He'd be similar style to Latrell if you moved him to fullback for the Dogs. That was my first... instead of moving Crichton, I wouldn't move the best centre in the game. So I'd lean towards that if that was maybe an option for them moving.
Tell you what, it proves Gus has put together a fair roster. As much as we bag Gus and we know he tells fibs, we are debating right here and now that there's not enough players, not enough positions rather, to fit in all the players.
I don't think anyone questions that Galvin is not a good buy for any club. He's an exceptional young talent. I think where most people have a problem with what's happened here is the fact that Lachlan Galvin has been able to get out of a contract a year and a half before he was due to. And that's the beginning and end of the conversation. It just once again shows what an absolute sham the transfer system is.
It's also the risk of disruption to a team that are coming first and could derail their season. I don't think it will. I'll get that clear. But it has the potential to, and that's what the fans are a little bit scared of.